on the front page of the Saturday Punch. NAF to deploy newly launched Augusta fighter jets in Zamfara, Katsina, and others. Yet they say we are not in a war situation. You are bombing territories, your own territories, and you say it's no war? So there is war in Zamfara. Nigeria against its own citizens. There is war in Borno. Nigeria against its own citizens. In Kaduna, people are dying. Yet Buhari says he's performing. Perform on, Mr. President. On the front page of the Punch, go on, Buratai, top military chiefs bid edge of farewell amid tears. The general is gone home. Lagos hairdresser commits suicide over disagreements with lover. JAMB deletes 76 exam centers, hires senior advocates to prosecute 100 suspects. There's something happening in JAMB. There's something about this professor. Let's keep watching him. Our brothers killers have taken away our family's joy. Siblings of Rivers man killed at a football viewing center. Dixon offers automatic employment to Ijaw PhD holders. Insecurity. Nigeria Air Force to deploy newly launched Augusta fighter jets in Zamfara, Katsina, orders. Bandits now in Niger, Kanu, Kaduna, says Army. Did you hear that? Bandits now in Niger State, Kanu State, Kaduna, says Army. Commuters shun buses, besiege Abuja train stations. Our lives no longer safe, northern monarchs cry out. I'm not laughing. That is not a laugh at all. I'm scared. Chief Akintayo Akindeko, it's good to have you on State Affairs.
Good morning, Edmund. Good morning, listeners. Thank you for having me with you.
Chief Akindeko is the convener Majeobaje movement. He's also a farmer. Chief Akindeko, man shall not live by bread alone.
Absolutely, my brother.
So what do you still harvest from your farm?
Well, we are just starting out. It really is a project to try and bring more employment to some of our youth and to get them off the streets and to get something that they can have hope and watch nature at work.
Have they turned the streets to their homes?
You know, Edmund, living amongst the people in the rural area, you realize that Nigeria, especially Yoruba Southwest, we have lost the greatness that we had from the past. It all came from the rural area. The children in the farms are still first class, but those in the urban areas, they have lost their way. They now depend too much on Yahoo, on these drugs, on trying to find some sort of way to keep themselves occupied. And in doing so, like we've always been told, the devil makes work for idle hands.
And they will hold the state to ransom.
Eventually they will, because they are coming gradually into the majority. Some of our own children who are raised well, who are educated at great expense, all of them are scrambling to get out of Nigeria, or at least to get out of the rural area. People that are left there, they are becoming more and more hopeless. It's a big problem, Edmund. It's a really big problem.
Andrew Emelieze is on State Affairs. Emelieze is of the All Workers Convergence. 30,000 naira minimum wage, no going back.
Well, good morning. Definitely, it's been signed into law, and what is expected of responsible governance is that at all levels, private sector, public sector, it should be paid, and workers are not compromising that. Just that it's quite unfortunate that it's also coming at a time where there is nothing like maximum wage. It's also coming at a time whereby, in this modern time, the president of a country will sign a bill into law. There is no minimum wage, there is no maximum wage, there is no table from the central government, so that the state can use it as a platform for comparison. And that is why we are now having this distortion, such that they are saying that the state can also go and negotiate. But however, there is no negotiating the 30,000 naira minimum. Just that, unfortunately, most likely the elevation might be so little that it might not really mean well. And if you look at the so-called 30,000 naira, it's not up to 0.5% of the president's salary. It's not a just wage. It's not a living wage. And workers are not yet happy, especially those at the federal level that are, of course, saying that, yes, 30,000 is being negotiated. It's a compromise wage. People are not so happy with it. What they are clamoring for now is harmonization of payment so that in the public service, those who work will have equal pay for the services provided.
Thank you.
We have very confusing mode of payment so that a little persons in the public service enjoy more than others. So they should be harmonized.
I have a message from the Secretary of the Nigeria Union of Pensioners, Oyo State Branch, Olusegun Abaton. The message reads, Seyi Makinde should not start his government on a faulty step. He should pay 30,000 naira minimum wage to workers and factor in pensioners who constitutionally are also entitled to pension increase. Dr. Deji Akinso, it's good to have you on State Affairs.
Thank you, Edmund.
Look at the story on the front page of the Punch. Nigeria efforts to deploy newly launched Agusta fighter jets in Zamfara, Katsina, orders.
Well, I want to believe that we have a problem presently with Zamfara. The current budget has included about 10 billion naira to be appropriated for what is going on in Zamfara State. 10 billion naira is a lot of money. It means there is problem that really need to be analyzed in that place. The 10 billion naira introduced is a sort of intervention. It was not in the original budget.
Now,
yes.
Is there a crisis that we cannot handle in Zamfara?
Well, I would say there is crisis. If there is no crisis, the budget we earlier appropriated should have been enough to take care of all these things.
Chief Akindeko, is there fire on the mountain?
Absolutely.
Look at the headline. Bandits now in Niger, Kanu, Kaduna says army.
You know, these states, they represent a buffer for us here in the Southwest. And we have to wake up very quickly. We have to make as much noise as possible to make sure that they snub out those problems as soon as possible before they spill over to us.
But it is spreading. That is the fear. It is spreading rapidly.
I think all the experts have said what has to be said. The matter is not being handled properly. There's a political element. There's a social element. There's an ethnic, a religious element. All these things, we need to sit down at a national table where all these ethnic nationalities that we call in Nigeria have to sit down together and stop fighting themselves. Because the more we fight ourselves, the more we leave the door open for these foreign countries that have their own interest in our resources to make problems for us and destroy the livelihood of our children.
Bandits now in Niger, Kanu, Kaduna says army.
Well, I think it's just the beginning of the beginning. All these things are expected as far as one is concerned from the sociological point of view. A society that has deprived its people over the years of resources, over the years of survival, all these things will snowball into violence, and the society has been tensed such that in present day time, people that have been unemployed, that have been suffering for years, will look for ways to survive. Beyond that, also, there can also be some ideological connotations to this, such that some people might, of course, want to overwhelm the whole country and take over the country, and that is why we must be careful. Just like my comrade had said here, there is need for a national reawakening, for us to sit down and reconsider our stake. Are we truly Nigerians? What do we really want? There must be a roundtable talk. Let us agree. I mean, this country is not yet a country because we are forced to come together. And so until we sit together and address these issues, I think the crisis will continue.
30,000 naira minimum wage. States return to drawing board. Map out strategies for payment. Or your Cross River, Kwara. We are waiting payment template from federal government. Alleged rape of sex workers. Police race team to probe men. What will you know here in Nigeria? What will you know here, Dr. Akinso?
You see, the problem is, why should state wait for federal template? They should have their own, which they will now at least romance with that of the federal government.
You are assuming we run a good federal system. That is what you are assuming.
Yes, that is what it's supposed to be.
Is it not a unitary system, Chief Akindeko?
You know, the people that are running the country at the moment are all offshoots of the military. Yes. Whether they are senators, whether they call themselves House of Rep members or governors or whatever, most of them were made by the military, one way or the other. They have a military mentality. They don't understand democracy. They don't understand the rights of the ordinary people.
Even Buhari?
Buhari obviously is an epitomization of military rule.
I thought he was your man.
But Buhari was my man insofar as he was better than Jonathan. Even though I am a PDP man, I stood back and I still stayed back. I still believe that he personally has the integrity. But unfortunately, he doesn't have the democratic credential.
No, sir. Let's look. What is personal integrity when the system is infested with corruption?
The personal integrity means that you know the right thing to do. The issue is that when you do it, are the people you are giving these instructions to going to carry it out the way you ask
So
them
if you fail to do the right thing, are you still that man of integrity?
The buck stops at your table.
So is Buhari a man of integrity for what you have seen so far?
Buhari is a man of integrity. The buck stops at his table. If the people working under him do the wrong thing, he has to take the blame. There's no doubt about that. The issue is he has to bring better people on board.
Well, integrity is the wholeness of character. It's either you have it or you don't have it. By Nigerian definition of integrity, I would want to say Buhari is still a man of integrity.
How? Have you investigated him?
Well, he has been on now for the past 5 years.
And nobody has come to say that he has stolen
Exactly.
this or done that. Him personally.
Has anybody come to say Atiku stole?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So which court has sentenced him?
I'm not going to go into a situation of trying
What makes Buhari better than Atiku?
Because nobody has come along to say that Buhari did this.
Has anybody convicted
We're not talking
Atiku?
about conviction. We're talking about allegations and rumors.
Some people are saying 2.8 billion naira that fella sang about. What happened?
That was long before your time. You made a very good point, but that is an issue which, as I said, has...
Was PTDF efficient the way it should have been?
You are coming down to exactly the same thing I'm saying, that Buhari meant well with his PT.
No, Buhari is always meaning well, yet we are getting poorer. That's the point, sir.
But the man won the election, so we're stuck with him. So we now have to work around him.
Comrade Emelieze, you have to intervene here.
Well, I think there has been so much that has been said about Muhammad Buhari, probably based on what people feel or think about him. But as far as I'm concerned, on the issue of integrity that so much has been said about him, he has not demonstrated it in any way. He has been someone that has not been on his words, is partial, and I think in one of these social media reports, someone that said is a man of integrity said does not have money to contest election. People have been donating for him, but the wife is a trillionaire. The children are getting richer by the day, and I think Oshunbaja has said that Buhari is getting poorer. He's poorer than when he first contested the election. And as far as I'm concerned, looking at also the issues of minimum wage, the way it's been handled in the past 3 years, to the extent that Buhari was almost forced to sign the minimum wage, he had not demonstrated that core integrity in the issues of welfare of the Nigerian people, which of course is supposed to be paramount. With all that we have been seeing that the country is making, Buhari had not demonstrated integrity in meeting up with his electoral promises. and there is so much poverty. So to the extent that we can now say the whole world has termed Nigeria as poverty capital. He has failed even in terms of as far as governance is concerned. So what are we now talking about as far as integrity is concerned?
Let me come back to Chief Akindeko. Chief, let's look at this. I know you like reading a lot. You must have seen the book, The Art of War, which is of vital importance to the state. In making the assertion about war, Sun Tzu, a general in the army of the king of Wu, recognizes that the opportunity of the state to triumph in a war situation is tied to the moral leadership of the sovereign, in this case, Muhammadu Buhari, the moral leadership of the sovereign. Without that moral leadership, you don't win a war.
Edmund, we're not fighting a war. We're trying to rule a country. We're trying to manage the resources of a country. Our problem is that we have many countries within a country in Nigeria. Muhammad Buhari represents the Fulani nation. He represents the Nigerian nation. He represents the Muslim nation. He has the obligation and the problem of having to manage all these different identities in the one man.
Has he managed it well?
I am a Christian. I'm a Yoruba. And the only thing I have in common with Buhari right now is that we are both Nigerians.
Remember your father worked with Awolowo.
Absolutely.
Remember the sterling leadership of that era.
Absolutely.
Is that what you see now?
You cannot compare Buhari to Awolowo.
Okay, let's leave it at that for now. We'll be back after this break. The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station.